Welcome to a new knot episode where we're going to be learning some of the essential climbing knots. We've got Hugh, mountaineering guru. We've got Jonas over here. All right, let's get started.
This is the Alpine Butterfly. We're going to take a look at the Alpine Butterfly for when you want to tie into the middle of a rope. There's a few situations you want to do that, especially when moving across rock faces where you want to simul climb or all climb together. You'd have one person on one end of the rope and one person on the other, and then one person in the middle. You could do that by just tying a figure eight on a bight, but a better way to do it is with an Alpine Butterfly or lineman's loop. You do that by taking a part of the rope, normally the middle, and you'd make 3 loops. So you'd go over once, then over twice, then over a third time, and then you'd reach underneath, you'd go around and put it through, and then you get a nice little loop that looks like that. You dress it nice, and then you clip on to the other side, just like so. Let me do that for you one more time, but a little bit slower. Over near your thumb, bring another one then over through your palm, another one over past your knuckles. So you've got 3 in a row. Then reach under the fingers, and pull that loop through. And then it goes around, underneath, and through. And then when you pull that tight, what we end up with is these 2 bunny ears, like this, and 2 parallel lines come out of there as well. And if you put a force on either side then, it's equal pressure on either side. Not only that, is it's really easy to untie if there's force that goes through it. You just push that back out through there, and you've got just your rope normal again.
This is the threaded 8 knot. So I've been climbing for more than 15 years, and I've been helping students and beginners in the climbing gym for quite a long time as well. And the one thing that we teach beginners when it comes to climbing and rope handling is the one knot that is really important, is the figure 8. So that's what we're going to look at how to do now. So let's look at first how to do a single figure 8. This is the simple one. I'm just going to hold the rope like this, pinch it like this, take the loose end and wrap it around. And then I'm going to have it come back at me like this. And you see the hole? I'm going to poke it through the eye like that. And that gives me a perfect figure 8. What's really great about this knot is that you can easily see that you tied it right. It looks like a perfect 8 like that. This knot is used a lot as a stopper knot. When we're climbing, we're always tying a single 8 at the end of the rope so we don't belay out of the rope. Basically, you want to make sure that when you get to the end of the rope, you don't like slide out of it. And the single 8 is also used a lot on sailboats. So we use the 8 knot to tie ourselves into the harness, but to be able to do that, we want to make sure that we have enough length of this loose end. So usually a big recommendation a lot of people say is that they want to go from about the throat out to the end of your palm like that. And this is a pretty good length for tying yourself into a climbing harness. So first, we're going to do the single 8. Let it hang like this. Come around, back to yourself, and then poke it through. That way, we end up with a single 8 like this and a pretty long loose end. This is what we then in turn take and we thread it through the harness. So the harness is set up like this. You have a central loop here, and you have one part on the lower harness that holds the leg loops, and then you have the waist loop up here. You want to thread this loose end through both of these. And of course, you learn this when you're taking your climbing course at a climbing center. I just want to show you the knot here. So now we have the loose end tight like this, and the first single figure 8 all the way up to the harness. And what you want to do to be able to tie yourself in is follow the loose end. Basically where the rope comes in and hits the harness, you want to follow it through all the way back to where it came from. So you go like this, you parallel it like that, you go parallel it to the next one, you dip it down, and the whole time you're making sure that you are going parallel to the first 8 knot that you did, and then you're going to end up coming up and parallel to the end of the rope here, and that is a threaded 8 knot. Basically, super easy to see that you've tied it right. It looks like a perfect 8, but it's doubled in this sense, and you tied into the harness properly, and this thing will never come loose. This is what you do when you're climbing. This is what you do when you tie yourself into the end of a rope if you're going up a glacier or a mountain like we are here now. Perfect knot, one of the most important knots that you will learn when you start climbing.
This one is clove hitch. In a mounted area like this where you want to move fast, it's good to know that you can hitch into an anchor and stay safe. So the regular way that you do this is you'd have the rope that's closest to you that you're tied into when you get to that anchor point first. You'd make a loop with your left hand, go from left to right. Then you make a loop with your right hand, going from right to left. Then you actually pass them with your right hand coming closer to you. So it looks a bit like that. When you clip into that then, what you'll find is that all tightens up on itself and make sure that you're completely safe when you're at that anchor point. If you want to get further away or closer to that anchor point, is a handy little bar here that you can use. You pull on it, and if you pull your end of the rope, you get further away. If you pull the other end of the rope, you get closer to that anchor point. If you want to be even quicker, there's a great way of doing it with one hand, where you clip into the rope to begin with, like you normally would with any quick draw or any carabiner. And then you reach around to the back of the rope, make a loop, and pass it straight through, and you've got that clove hitch, but with one hand. This is the Italian hitch. If you find yourself in a position where you don't have a belay device to rappel, or if you want to move quickly and you want to bring your second person up without that belay device, then you can use a moving hitch called an Italian hitch or munter. It's very similar, it's kind of like a sister hitch to a clove hitch, but it moves, so you don't want to get them mixed up. Kind of the same way that you tie them. With the left hand, with the rope closest to you, you make a loop from left to right. And then with this part of the rope, you make from right to left. But instead of crossing them over, like you do with the clove hitch, you actually make another round trip with the right hand and bring them together. So it looks a bit like this. And then when you put a carabiner through it, what you'll find is that moves. So you clip it through. And then if I pull on this side, you'll notice that it rolls over on itself, which is completely fine. That's what it's supposed to do. And it's supposed to move through. So when you pull it from either side, then it'll roll over and it'll move through. It's a friction hitch. You don't use it a lot. You don't want to use it a lot because it puts a lot of heat through the rope and it twists the rope up. But in a snip, if you need to rappel or if you need to bring a second person up without a belay device, this is the hitch for you. Let me do this one more time slowly. So with the rope that's closest to you, you go from left to right and make a loop. And then with your right hand, you go from right to left and make a loop. But unlike the clove hitch where you'd cross them over, you actually make another turn and bring them together just like that. So that's what it looks like. And then when you put a carabiner through it, what you'll see is that you pull it and it rolls over on itself, which is what it's supposed to do. And it'll run through, and the same the other way. And that's a move-in hitch that you can use to rappel or to belay someone. So we're doing some knots that you'd normally come across and you normally want to know in an alpine environment such as this, when you're on snow, but mixed with rock, when you want to move quickly. You want to set up anchor systems through the rocks just to make sure everyone's safe. So when moving through boulder fields or moving across rock faces, you set these up and you use these knots and these hitches just to make sure that you are moving quickly and get back down off the mountain safely.
Yeah. So now I want to show you how to use a prusik. So there's a couple of ways to do the prusik. I'm going to show you one that is a little bit looser first. This is called the French prusik. The prusik is locked onto my carabiner. I'm going to take it like this, and I'm going to wrap it around the down end of the rope. And I'm going to wrap it at least 3 times here. Actually, as many times as you can is good. The more loops you will get around this, the better the friction is going to be, and the better it's going to pinch the rope when you go down. But I'm going to wrap it to the point where I have, about that much left to go. I'm going to take this loose end, and I'm going to clip that onto the carabiner as well. Come on, there we go. I have a screw carabiner here as well, so never use a screw carabiner that is open. I'm going to lock it. And then what this does is that it basically pinches the rope when I'm going down. So I could potentially just be hanging on this prusik and it wouldn't just drop me to the ground, and it would, allow me to go down safely. Then as I go down, put my right hand on the prusik knot and I would move it down and feed it through. And that way I would be able to lower myself down in a safe way. So this is the French prusik. I'm going to show you one that is more of a standard version that is also a little bit tighter. And instead of clipping it on, I'm going to hold it like so. And then I'm going to thread the prusik through. Instead of around like I did before, I'm going to have the loose ends on either side. I'm going to thread it through like this. And I'm going to do another one. So basically I'm looping it over itself, but on the inside, so shrinking the distance here on the inside. So I have 3 turns like this. Do one more. So you end up with a nice looking wrapper like that. The loose end that I was just using to thread, to wrap around is the loose end that I'm gonna also clip into my carabiner like this. Again, like before, close the gate, and here's my Prusik. Works the exact same way. This one is a little bit tighter than the first Prusik, and it will hold you better even. Same procedure, going down, hand on this Prusik knot, my other hand on the top rope, and it will basically feed me through like this. If I was to fall, if there was a rock that hit me in the head, knocked me unconscious, or for any reason I would lose my grip and let go of the rope, it would pinch it, and it would basically stop me from falling down to the ground.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. I wanted to do this video with these guys because they are mountain experts. They're up here all the time, more than me. Sometimes I will do knots. This is part of a whole series that we're doing here with Stone Age Man. Stay tuned for more, and if you want to follow these guys.
So if you want to follow me, it's quite easy. You can follow my tracks in the snow, or if you like social media, you can go to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, MySpace. I don't think I'm on there anymore. But look for Hugh M. James or Antiris. At Antiris, we do science of the outdoors, which is why we do a lot of our stuff in amazing locations like this.
If you want to find out more of the stuff that I do, you can either check out the Science Filmmaking Tips YouTube channel that Rob and I run together, all kinds of tips and tricks on photography and filmmaking. If you want to see a lot of my photographs, then go to my Instagram, which is Behind the Science. And I'm also setting up a YouTube channel with a lot of science content, biodiversity, a lot of cool stuff. So check that out as well. Link is going to be down here below when everything is set up. So enjoy it.
And stay tuned for more Stone Age Man videos where we're teaching some of these different skills. We'll see you in the next one.
I gotta say, this is probably honestly one of the coolest campsites I've been to. We're up on the Grand Teton, we're on the Teton Mountains, close to the Grand Teton. And this campsite is called the Caves because there's, well, these like mini caves that you can sleep in, but we were worried we were gonna get basically snowed on and all soaked. We pushed a tent in here, which was both a good idea and a bad idea. The good idea is that we were really protected from the storm that came in last night, but the bad idea is that snow was melting from up top and dripping down right where we had our heads. So we kept getting like hit with little water droplets all night, even though we had the tent closed up because it was leaking.